I am so excited to be here today with our guest, Emily Ellen Anderson, who is a business coach for floral and creative entrepreneurs. She helps ambitious business owners transform their mind drama so they can build lives and businesses that are wildly satisfying and profitable. She's owned a boutique event production company north of Seattle for the last 12 years that started out as a floral design company. She's lived the transformation an entrepreneur can take from starting out knowing nothing to building a lucrative event and floral business. Emily, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you. This is really fun for me.
So one of the many things that sets you apart in this floral world, business world, is the fact that you have such an interesting background when it comes to building structures, landscape architect. Let's help the listeners understand your journey. Like, how did you get to where you are today from where you were 12 years ago?
Yeah, I guess, it's funny looking back. I feel like I've done a gazillion things and I've been working since I was 14 years old. And so looking back, I can really see how everything links together. And it's like, oh, of course. But it's funny, but I actually think it started in the restaurant industry and just getting used to being in there for so long and during college and having that regular movement all the time and the pace and the flow and feeling like you could create a choreography of movement and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I went to school I got 2 degrees, one in sculpture and one in landscape architecture, because I always thought I would be a public artist. And for some reason, fine art was really scary because I couldn't wrap my head around building art for myself and only be driven by myself. And so public art, I'm like, okay, great. I'll have a client and a purpose and I'll take landscape architecture so I understand sight, and then I'll be able to make art that way. And then I became a landscape architect and realized it was a desk job. But learned some beautiful project management skills and drafting skills and all that. And so about 2008, it's so similar to kind of what I see happening now with this big
history repeats itself.
Yeah, people coming in and new blood in the industry and stuff. And everybody kind of wait, what do I really love doing? And then just these big pivots on kind of passion-driven lives, which I love. But I had that happen in about 2008, where we had the recession, and I thought 40% of the construction industry was losing their jobs. I'm like, for sure, I'm going to lose this job. So I'll start a side project of floral design on the side. And my first client was because I had a best friend who was an event manager at a university. And so I started doing big stage pieces for their commencements. And
that's amazing though. Don't you just love how the universe just shoos you? If you're on the right track, literally the doors just open, which is so refreshing and rewarding.
Totally. Yeah. And I found that and I look back now, I was a garbage designer.
We all were in the beginning.
I learned, I had no teaching. I knew plants and I wasn't afraid to put things together, get in the trenches. But I look back now and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe my skills then. But it actually, now I train people. I'm like, it's not the design that's going to get you the job. It's all of these other things. So it's something that I teach my students. So that's how it started. And I realized I got back in that flow of movement. And I'm like, I love working on my feet with my hands, with people. I love the quick turnaround of events and building a team and making something together. And that grew. So our event design grew, and then started realizing that I had an opinion on the full event, right? And I'm just like, wait a minute, I feel like I could do better than this, at least as good. And so started growing from that way. And so we started doing full event design, and then that got bigger. We started taking bigger events and bigger corporate events. And now we do just kind of some gargantuan events.
That's incredible. And it all started because you basically love to build things.
Totally. Yeah.
And I think that's so important because I know so many florists, myself included, especially when I was first starting, we don't know how to do that. And so those big installs that we actually want and those clients that we actually want to service, we don't know how. So we naturally like shy away from them. And then we never get that business because not only do they need like the mechanics to work, but they also need someone who's like confident in pulling that off and can deliver a vision that they might not even know that they have. And so I love the fact that you've come from a completely different angle. You know, it didn't come from the world of pretty flowers. It was like, I come from the world of like building things and wanting to see flow. And I think that's incredible because you've really built a very niche, very lucrative business because your skill set is so specific, but also so needed. And there's not a lot of talent out there. Yeah. So, side note, I'm actually secretly jealous that you have a landscape architect degree because I always wanted to be a landscape architect until I was told if I didn't do well in geometry, I wouldn't do well in architecture. So, and I didn't. I was an algebra girl, not a geometry girl.
I bet you would look back now and be like, I could crush this geometry. I feel like
totally.
I feel like I'm now that way with science, and I'm like, I could crush brain science.
I think there's something about when you learn it when you're 16, you're like, I don't really need to know this.
Yeah.
I don't care about a triangle.
Yep.
So tell me, I know you have a lot of experience in the corporate event world and also in the hospitality world. Step me through some of your hospitality projects. Like, how did they start? What did you do? And kind of what did you learn from them?
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I've had some really nice partnerships with hotels, and I really in my kind of world, I see them as venues too. So larger venues. And those partnerships have been like critical. And that's one thing I love about corporate events and hotel events, and that those kind of seeing your client as the place rather than the individuals coming through that place.
Yeah.
Because you can build that longer relationship, right? So, and that's what I started with at the beginning. So, I would go into it basically like, let me learn everything I can learn about your hotel, your venue. And my proposal to them, at a meeting, I was like, oh, like, give me all of your information of how you like to work and what I can do to be the best partner for you. And I'll tell you a little bit about how I work. And how I work was never about the design. It was always about project management. And here's the kind of like drawings that your clients will get. And here's the kind of clarity that they'll have and the communication level you have. And by the way, like, you are my team and I will not let any of us fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that kind of like certainty is what I was selling to those kind of clients in particular. And I think that is why I was so successful in the beginning and still now.
I love that you bring that up. Sorry to interrupt, but this is such a crucial part of the puzzle. And it's one that I teach about all the time. It's you have the actual relationships and the network, but ultimately it's like, how can you show up from a place of value and serve them? And I always say, we're an extension of your team. Like, I don't see it as I'm a vendor and I'm serving you as my client. Obviously, I want to take good care of you, but like, I'm part of your team. So what can I do that makes you look good? How can I support you in ways that you don't have to burn any brain calories worrying about what I'm doing? And I remember when we got one of the hotel clients that we had, they passed us, they literally called us and said, we have a really difficult client. We cannot manage them. They want stuff with florals and all that. We literally have zero headspace, but we know you're going to take really good care of them. And we don't even care what you're going to do. Just like, here's their details, call them. And it was Apple. And we did a week straight event with them. And it was because, just like you said, we didn't show them how pretty our flower arrangements were. I mean, that's important that you can deliver your service, but they knew how we worked internally. They knew that we would just be an extension of their team. They knew that we had their brand standards in mind and that we would have Apple's brand standards in mind. They knew we wouldn't challenge anything. If anything, we would come up with solutions. And we were able to come up with solutions due to the structures on the back end that we had in the business. So I love that you touched on this, because a lot of times people think it's some secret, but it's really not. It's just literally being a team player.
Yeah. I love that you brought up the word value, because that's something I teach a lot, is like, people are confused on what their value is, and they're confused on what selling is. Because like, if you really like think about the person that you're going to be meeting and really what they need, like the stuff that you make is the least important thing to talk about, right? And so it's like, what are they like worried about happening? Like, some of them just want something easy. Like, they just want an easy button. They want it done, and they just want to carry it out. And so like, figuring that out about people, some people are just going to want you not to mess up their venue, right? Just like follow the rules and be a person. But
or you're not going to call them like 10 times trying to load in because you can't follow its simple instructions, you know?
Right. You're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So just like thinking about what those things that person really needs, like on the underneath, then that's going to help you talk about your services and create a faster relationship.
And overall, I think make you a more strategic business owner.
Yeah. And then selling becomes super easy when you kind of know what they need. It's just like, let me connect you with the thing that you really need. And obviously I can give you that. I can deliver on that.
What would you say, you know, just considering florists going out right now and, you know, they're looking for those lucrative partnerships and projects in the corporate world, will take, whether it's corporate events or hotels, what do you find are their stumbling blocks that they're currently kind of running up against?
Yeah. So that value kind of thing is probably number one, just being confused on what the value they provide is and being not confident about it. So you can be confident about being able to figure something out, right? Like, you can have confidence in yourself without having the confidence to be able to like pull off this giant feat, right? So so that is all you need, right? Like, that is actually all you need. So you can go into these places with the confidence that you can communicate your value and deliver on it. So that's probably one of them. And then kind of like, for people definitely even getting into it now, I would say just like owning that you're the leader of your own trajectory, right? So there's a lot of clients that I get, they're like, well, the clients aren't there, their style is different than I want, they don't have the budgets. And so there's all these situational problems that they see as outside of themselves. And they don't see their own impact in being able to create that for themselves. So going out and finding these people and being like excited to get these people into your orbit and explain, you know, communicate with them like your value is another thing that I see people not doing. They're just waiting.
Yeah. I always say, like, especially with even seasoned florists, you know, we have students in the Hotel Florist Profit Method who are really big florists, they have big hotel accounts, and they're struggling with just problems that naturally come up. And it's a friendly reminder, like, but you are the leader. Like, you have to be a leader in your business. You get to choose the boundaries. You get to set the boundaries. And I also love what you talked about, confidence. It's all about confidence. And a lot of times people worry that if they don't have the whole back end or the whole procedure figured out, then it can't happen and therefore they're not confident. But I have this saying, I'm like, figure out how to get the food and then you figure out how to eat it. You don't figure out how to eat it first. Like, you got to get the food first, get the meal, get the dinner, the buffet, whatever you want to call it.
They're like, wait, I don't have the right fork or the knife. Like, I don't know how to get it in my mouth.
You might have to make a fork out of a stick, but it's fine. Like, you have food.
Right.
So yeah, not overcomplicating it, not telling yourself you're not confident. That's another thing. I mean, we know confidence is an issue. We know it comes from mindset issues, but really taking a moment and being like, I am talented. I do know what I'm talking about. I do show up from a place of service. I do want to offer value. I have considerable value to give. I want to serve this client. And this is what I see is possible for me. And then that is your confidence. Everything else comes with experience, but you can't have the experience if you don't even start.
Totally. And for that, all you need is courage. You actually don't even need the confidence yet, because you can build that through experience, but you just need the courage to do it anyways.
What's one thing that you wish you knew when you began your career?
Yeah, I would say that there's no right way. You know what I mean? So I started and I felt very insecure about my design skills because I had never had teaching. And at that time, there was like no resources.
Nobody.
Like so weird.
Maybe a YouTube channel. Like 3 episodes.
Going to New York to visit a landscape client during my full-time job. And I had like a little block of time and I like ran out to the botanical garden to learn how to condition flowers. And like, that was it. That was my training. So it's just knowing that there is no right way. So I think a lot of people spin out on what other people are doing, like what are all the tools and the methods and the how, and they focus on that at the detriment of figuring out like, what am I all about? What are the decisions I want to make here? And what am I standing by to move forward with? What am I going to try?
I think that's awesome. And I think so many people, especially when they first start, they're so afraid of failing.
Yeah.
And you have to completely change the narrative in your mind. Like for me, my number one strength is problem solving. I see every problem as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become a better expert in something. And when we fail, if we could take the negative connotation away from it and just say, this is a learning experience. This is a learning opportunity. And it comes to the point where you start taking on bigger pieces of work, bigger clients. And instead of worrying about failing, you're kind of like, you adopt this laissez-faire attitude of like, well, worst case, it doesn't work out. But like, I'm not going to die and everything's going to be fine and I'll figure it out. But unless you do it, you'll never know. I'll never forget, like we handled the Tiffany & Co. account in the Houston area. We were opening a studio in Dallas for a short term. They asked us to come on board for Dallas and ended up giving us the whole entire state. And I remember I almost turned it down because I was like, I don't know. I physically can't do all the accounts. Like even if I got in my car and I drove to all the locations, like I couldn't do it in one day. And what if it doesn't work? And I'm like, but what if it does?
Right.
Like, and what if so let's say someone doesn't show up or an order does go wrong. You're really great at customer service. You can apologize. You're human. Like they're human. It's nothing in the world. But like, imagine if it just worked. And you've made everything else in your life work. You're probably going to make this work. Like I doubt you're going to drop the ball on Tiffany & Co. So, and I did. And that's how I became Texas State Florist for them. But you have to take risks. And if you're scared of failing, you're never going to take those risks. So it's just changing the narrative on that. And like you said, when you first start, you don't know everything. It's not even possible.
Yeah. And if you're filling your brain with scenarios where you're going to fail, like think about how that creates kind of like the story you're living in. So if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, this could go wrong in this way, and then you're constantly like, oh my gosh, I am so cautious, right? And so you're going into something that really needs you there 100%. And then you're like, oh, I don't know, like I might screw this up. And then of course, like you're
an energetic match for screwing it up.
Right. So, so you're totally like kind of make your own scenarios. And I love that point about just being human. Because, I mean, that's what it is. And some of my best customer service experiences have been me screwing up somehow, and then just being like, hey, I am sorry. Let me fix this. Like, let me make this better.
And I think it leads to great connection, and also it builds trust. Like we had a student in the Hotel Florist Profit Method, and she walked into her hotel account that she very rarely visits, and she realized that it was a dumpster fire. Like it was a mess. And she was like, I don't know what to do, but they're not going to renew our contract because of it. And I said, you don't need an email. You don't need a call. You literally need to go to the property, ask to speak to the person you need to speak to, and explain to her what happened and explain to her how it won't happen again and apologize. Like how many issues do you think a hotel has from a customer service point of view every day?
Totally.
Like at least 10 or 15. I mean, and those people are trained and this is what they do. So it just naturally happens sometimes. But if anything, the client can appreciate that you're taking ownership of it, that you've realized there's a problem and that it won't happen again. And I just think that's like such an amazing opportunity. And like you said, sometimes our problems are the best ways to grow and position ourselves even better than before.
Totally.
What is one thing? I love this. I love all the questions I ask, but I really love this one. What is one thing or something about the floral industry that bothers you?
Oh, okay. And I won't say it like bothers me as in like, I am a little mad at it actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is, I don't know if you've ever looked at like the yearly or the average salary of a floral designer.
Yeah, I think it's something like 35,000 or something.
No,
like
last
really
time I looked,
low.
it was 27. And I was like, what?
Okay.
But I don't know when that was. But so there's just a lot of people out there who are frustrated with under earning. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who are just fine with what they make. And even if it's a lower number, they're just fine with it. So I'm not talking about those people, but I am talking about the people who are frustrated with the amount of money they have coming in, because I really don't think that's necessary. Like,
yeah.
And that's why I love what you're doing too, because it just shows another way to make kind of design your life the way you want it. But the pricing and the going after what you want and setting your own rules and boundaries and then following them up or following through with them, like that's all inside stuff. Like that's not stuff that your clients make for you or the industry makes for you. That's your stuff to make for yourself. So, yeah, when I hear people kind of commenting on like forums and stuff, of how frustrating it is that they don't have the money that they want,
or accepting it,
or accepting it. I just want to be like, come here. If you're ready to go, I will help you figure this out, because it is unnecessary to struggle this way.
Yeah, I think it's a belief. And because society has told them that this is what they're worth. And I think especially industry disruptors such as yourself and myself, we've kind of said, that actually doesn't work for me. And that doesn't support my dreams or where I want to go. And so I'm going to try it different. And yeah, it might be hard in the beginning. I might not know what the heck I'm doing, but the maybe year or two I put in the beginning, I am going to get as much time, if not like triple, quadruple that on the back end.
Yeah.
And so I know some people are like, it would be really nice just to work one day a week, but I just can't afford that right now. And it's almost like it's not a mockery. They're not doing it from a place of, jealousy or anything like that. It's a place of disbelief that it actually is not possible, because in order to make at least minimum, whatever the minimum is, 27, 35,000, you need to be working 6 days a week. And you need to be doing all the things. And I remember doing all the things. And one day I pulled the handbrake and I was like, all the things don't work for me,
Right. Yeah. That was my 85 event year. That was my breaking point. I'm like, stop.
Yeah. I realized, and it was really humbling, but I remember sitting on the couch with my cat and I thought, wow, I would make more money if I sat on this couch with my cat today than if I went to the studio and paid all the people and bought all the flowers and did all the work. For what? And it really made me question what I was doing, my career and all that. And it took me a while to realize, okay, I need stable income. I need consistent money. I need to have freedom to design. Like I need to be able to sleep at night knowing that a contract is signed for 12, 24, 36 months, whatever it is, so that then I can actually breathe and I can do other things. Yeah. Because when we're working like 6 days a week, we're not able to do those things.
Yeah. And sometimes, I think you kind of mentioned, like, it does take some hard work in the beginning. And I think that's another thing that I see a lot of floral designers struggle with is, with persistence and keeping your head in it and strategizing, finding a new way, like you're going to get here. It is inevitable.
Yeah.
But you're not constructing your business for what you have now. Like people are just so focused on what they have now, what they're going to get this year, like what is happening now. I'm like, this is what you're in it for, is over here. where all
Mm-hmm.
of these things work out. So this is where you make your decisions from. You don't make your decisions from right here.
I always say, like, what would benefit future Franceska? Like,
Right.
what can present Franceska do for future Franceska? And I remember I had a student and she joined and she sent me a long email and she said, I didn't realize that it took you a year to get your first hotel contract. I want like my money back. And I was like, my journey is completely different from anyone else's journey. I was in the Middle East. I moved to Houston, Texas. I didn't know anybody. I bid on all the hotels. I was a brand new florist. Everyone had a contract. Like, my situation was completely different than, say, the past two students that just joined before her that one landed two contracts and one landed one within like 30 to 60 days.
Yeah.
So everyone's journey is different. But even if it was a year,
Yeah.
that year has afforded me 4 years. It has afforded me to make this course, another course. I travel full time. Like, that year paid off. And in the meantime, I was doing all the things I'd be doing anyway, with doing events and weddings and whatever I needed to do to float the bills. But I knew that as long as I kept focusing on the one thing that was going to help set up future Franceska for success, that was going to give my business brand equity, that if I ever wanted to sell, there was something to sell with it, et cetera, it was worth 12 months of like picking up the phone maybe 2 or 3 times, building that relationship, and then knowing that relationship was there for as long as I wanted to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, she's in the course and she's loving it now. But I think florists just need to be reminded, it's not just like a button that you press and then like everything works out. You have to put in the work, but you need a little bit of structure. And I think that that's where you and I come in as far as what we can help with. Which leads me to my next question is, what new and exciting projects are you currently working on? Like, I know 2020, you probably had one thing in mind, and now we're in 2021, and I want to know what you're up to.
A little different. Yes. So I have 2 things. I got certified as a coach. So I am business coaching, floral designers, stylists, or even people who just like want more of that designed life and creative lifestyle. So I'm coaching them one-on-one. And then I also have a price and profit design online course, which really like deals with money, which is such a hard issue for people to talk about. So it really like makes people look at what they want out of their company, how they want to make it, and then realistically, like, what does this cost? And what are the levers you can pull? Like, what happens to your brain when you raise your prices? What happens to your brain when you decide to take more work or less work? And what happens when you increase your kind of average transaction? So, and then we have like tools to do that within the course, but it's kind of like this beautiful blend of tools and actions and the like brain power to be able to like have the confidence and willingness to do new things. So that is launching after Mother's Day.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Coming up.
And that's one thing that we just don't talk enough about. I mean, especially women in general, we don't talk enough about money, but especially as florists, it's like we've all just been taught times 3, and then we all feel guilty when we take home a profit. But bottom line is, if you're not profitable, you're not sustainable. And I think we saw that with a lot of businesses that had to close in 2020 or have like really struggled. And that's why diversified income is so important. So get your consistent income through whether it's your corporate accounts, whether that's hotels, corporate events, those kind of things. And if you still want to do weddings and other smaller events on the side, then I always called that the cherry on top.
Yeah.
And I remember in 2000, I think it was 18 or 9, it must have been 18. I decided that I wanted to make X amount for the year. I needed 8 clients to do that. I had 5 on the wall. I had 3 empty clipboards. And I was like, just like, who is going to be on the wall? It was like, who's going to be my next victim?
Yes, these people are out there.
Yeah. And then that was it. And it made everything possible. It made everything doable. And if there was other work that came in, holiday decor, holiday parties, whatever, then I got to choose if I wanted to add them to the wall, and it would just be a surplus of what I had already planned for that year. So I think that money is something not to be skirted around. Money is like what drives your business, what drives your life. And I just love that you talk about that in your course. So
you're saying that's like a beautiful conversation. Like, for somebody who's so worried, like if your client is so worried about talking about money and you're just like, this is easy. This is not a problem. You don't have like, you can release all the emotional baggage you have in this conversation with me. Like, I am here to help you make a decision on this.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't have to be that really scary thing that a lot of people are making it to be.
Yeah. But just normalize it. I think that's probably the easiest way. All right. So, Emily, I know you're a very busy lady. How do you take your coffee? I'm like curious because I need to up my coffee game these days.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. I am a consistent, boring 12-ounce oat milk latte girl. That's
Ooh, but that sounds so nice.
it. It is nice.
You should do a dash of cinnamon on top. I always like to zhuzh up my coffees with a
My
little.
baristas would be like, whoa, what?
You're like, I need a dash of cinnamon on top, please. If you don't have
You're
cinnamon,
crazy
I'll put it on
today.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for being with us today. Where can people find you?
Yeah, they can find me at curiouslola.com. That is our website. And probably Instagram is where I'm most vocal, I guess. And that's at lola.curious. And otherwise, price and profit design, if you guys are interested in checking that out later.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We can't wait to see how your new course goes. We're all rooting you on.
Thank you.